Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. Man, it's good to see you. It has been at least 24 hours since the last time. So what is going on, Chip? Great to see you.
23 to be exact.
23 to be exact and counting. So check this out. Round 2, Ripple versus Bitcoin. And here's the most important component of all the things that are going on. Warren Davidson, is seeking pro-crypto legislation, but the party that's in charge, maybe not so much. I don't know, we're going to talk about that a little bit here tonight because we talked about it yesterday. I think we might have talked about it the night before that too.
Perhaps we may have.
Perhaps if you're brand new here, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe to On the Chain, because that's the thing to do if you're brand new here. And also shout out where you're tuning in from. With that, Chip, if you're ready to kick this thing off.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Jeff, that was an On the Chain first. We've never done that during the intro. I thought I'd just slip it in. That was always
very cool.
Right? It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
Man, it might be a thing. Might start doing that from now on.
Hey, you want to start with my boy Pomp? Our boy Pomp. Hey, anybody that says it's your boy Pomp, it's your boy Chip, it's your boy Pomp. You know what? Who wants to go off the chain? I'd rather be on the chain, wouldn't you?
Man, on the chain is so much better.
Yeah, man, it's blockchain, baby. You don't want to go off the chain,
especially when you got a trademark.
Yeah, that's right. Trade official on the chain is trademarked. Just got word the other day, which is good. I'm interviewing Ripple co-founder Chris Larson tomorrow. This was yesterday. Everything is very
sweet.
He was. Awesome. This happened today. Actually.
Pomp. Oh, there's
Pomp.
Oh man, I thought.
Don't worry.
I thought.
Don't worry, Jeff. Nobody from Ripple. Nobody's coming from. Nobody's coming from Ripple anytime soon. Everything is fair game.
Missive.
Let me translate. Everything is fair game for you. That means I will get into the banker's coin, and I'll be a BTC maxi, and we kind of know how this goes. We've seen Garlinghouse on there before. We know
anarchy.
They're gonna go back and forth about how green Bitcoin is, and Chris is gonna fight for his. We haven't heard it yet, but this is how it's gonna go. We'll discuss what we agree and what we disagree about. Well, that's everything. So that's pretty much the whole podcast. What questions do you have for him? I have only one, Jeff. When will he come on the chain? That's the only one I want to know about, because I can read all about him and all his accomplishments anywhere else.
You talking about Chris Larson or
Pomp? Larson? Well, Pomp. I mean, I like Pompliano's. Actually, I don't mind him. I actually think he's a fun guy.
We'd have fun with him if he came on the chain.
Oh, we would have a blast. But I'm just saying, he's a likable dude. He's likable. Yeah, we goof on him a little bit, but it's like, you're a public guy. You're gonna get goofed on once in a while. We're not in the public eye because this channel is the biggest secret of all time. So don't worry about it. We still get goofed on. And so somebody named Breel said, hey, as a co-founder of XRP, Ripple, does he agree that Ripple has likely created the security issue for XRP? And if they didn't sell for profit, then XRP wouldn't be pressured by the legal issues of Ripple? And David Schwartz said, well, Ripple wasn't created to sell XRP. At least I expected that what we would fairly quickly give most of it away either directly to end users or to incentivize builders. I didn't realize how difficult and unrealistic that was. What do you think about that statement, Jeff?
I saw that earlier, and I've been trying to digest this. What exactly does that mean? Because if you want to incentivize builders and you want to give it away to end users, now I think the incentivize builders part is great, but why is it so difficult and unrealistic to help builders in the space with XRP? Maybe there were some other legal things that hold them back. Maybe that's the unrealistic aspect, the difficulty. I'm not sure. I don't know if I fully comprehend his statement.
Well, I don't know if I fully comprehend any of his statements. I'll be honest with you, because they're always pretty deep. He's on another level. Let's face it. He's genius level. He could absolutely be Satoshi. He's that brilliant. And so sometimes, so this week, well, actually today, 4 new commissioners have been added to the CFTC. We know the CFTC, Rostin Bam over there has been going back and forth with what's going on over the SEC. And let's throw this tweet up here. This is Rostin here. He put a tweet up. He says, I congratulate the 4 new commissioners for the CFTC. Looking forward to working with these accomplished professionals. And then before we get into John Deaton's amazingly awesome tweet, and he might just, it's just a beautiful tweet. And
actually, before you get into that, I got to give someone a shout out real quick, because Tony Evans came here due to a chat that we had with the Casino Coin guys. So Tony Evans is saying, Casino Coin brought me to your channel a while ago. Keep up the good work. Really enjoy your channel. The reason why this is so significant is because I think this might be the first time that we've seen Tony Evans commenting.
Could be
on the channel in a live stream. But welcome again. It's great that, people, what's amazing about the subscribers here on the chains, that we have people that are tuning in, pretty much from all over the world. And people have come from so many of the different projects that we've interviewed, which is really amazing. Whether it's, people thinking about, the SEC case, or, many of the people that we've brought in, through the interviewing process. So welcome, Tony, and great to have you here with us tonight.
Yeah, and we have people, OGs in the space too, like Matt LaRoche has been around. I think I've known him as long as I've been in the crypto space. So he wonders if Pomp will put a toilet roller, toilet brush on a shelf behind him when Chris is coming, like he did with Brad Garlinghouse. That's so funny you bring that up. Totally forgot all about that, Matt. So let's jump back into this. I wanted to get into the statement a little bit, Jeff, because it's fairly short. Statement from actually that this might be the first time where the headline might be almost a third or greater than the actual statement. This is a statement of CFTC Chair Rostin Bam on the U.S. Senate confirmation of Christy Goldsmith Romero, Kristen Johnson, Summer Christine Mersinger, and Carolyn D. Pham. Wow, that's a lot, Jeff. So he says, I congratulate all 4 on their successful confirmation to serve as commissioners at the CFTC. Confirmation of these 4 accomplished professionals means the CFTC has the most diverse set of commissioners. Diverse, Jeff. In the history, diverse, the most diverse in history. Now, I don't know. I mean, I've not been back in history. I do know that they are all women. So just on that note alone, it would be completely diverse, because it's always been typically probably heavier on the testosterone side. I thank Senators Stabenow and Boozman for their bipartisan leadership that brought these nominees before the Senate. The American people are well served by having a full commission can openly debate significant policy issues and policy issues. Wow, Jeff. Really policy issues and ever-changing derivatives and financial landscape. And honestly, this is fantastic. John Deaton goes full on savage here, and he says, well, maybe the first thing you can do is stop Gary Gensler from land grabbing your jurisdiction over digital assets that have been openly traded within the U.S. for almost a decade. Why don't we start there? I love that statement, Jeff.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's solid. Why don't you stop there? Stop Gary. He's just right for the jugular. Bam. Totally
right for the throw punch.
Total attack mode. I absolutely just phenomenally love that. And I wanted to, this caught my eye. I didn't watch the entire hearing. As a matter of fact, I don't even know if it was on our radar. Was it on your radar, Jeff? The CFTC new commissioners?
It actually wasn't. That was the one thing that was not on my radar.
Yeah, just like a lot of things. I was like, wait a minute.
Not paying attention.
There were Senate hearings, but I don't even know if they were on, what's that cable network that it's so boring when they televise those things? What's C-SPAN?
What are you talking about? Oh, C-SPAN.
C-SPAN is just,
I like C-SPAN.
Well, I mean,
C-SPAN is awesome.
I don't know. It just needs, I guess the problem is it's either the, hearings, it's the House or Senate voting on something. And it's just so dark and drab, just like the House and the Senate.
Just quiet. Nothing's going on.
Let me find the part in the video. I believe it was, let me just look at the thing. Yep. Okay. I'm going to look at this. Hopefully there's no, it's just, again, dark and drab. So let me go to let's see where I can find where this puppy is. Boy, and these 2 senators, boy, oh boy, man. You talk about a barrel full of laughs, these two. Holy cow. So I want you to pay close attention to what Senator Boozman says here. Let's see if we can key on this, because I was shocked about this, Jeff. I just happened to catch this, just kind of scrolling through, finding out what some of their answers in the questioning were. This is Senator Boozman right here. And as you can see, someone's awakened him from his nap, and he's about to ask a question here. So let's listen in. Let me know if you don't hear the sound. Is it up?
Proactively fix issues when violations are inadvertent and largely immaterial, and not automatically default to issuing fines and other penalties. In other words, more of a helpful attitude versus a gotcha attitude. Okay. And we'll start with the IG that deals with these things all the time.
Thank you, Ranking Member Bozeman. Yes, I would commit to that.
Gotcha attitude.
Thank you, Ranking Member Bozeman. I echo my nominee's commitment, but underscore that I strongly believe in robust enforcement and can imagine balancing that with ensuring or encouraging cultures of compliance at registered and entities subject to oversight.
Very good.
Yes, Senator Bozeman, and I will always put agriculture first if confirmed.
All right, Jeff, hang on a second.
Wait, what happened?
Agree with my fellow.
What are we doing here?
Well, here's what happened.
Talking about agriculture.
No, here's what happened. I marked it as a spot. I'm gonna have to listen to a little bit of this because it wasn't the spot that I thought it was at, because I thought it was 1-0.
Well, you do that, and then
let's go ahead and pull something up, Jeff. I'm gonna go ahead and look.
While you're digging through this one, I think this is key to bring up right about now, and while you're kind of digging through the politics of politics, I'm going to bring up Warren Davidson and some of the commentary thereof. But I like, so this is now Warren Davidson is really putting himself in the limelight. And so I think we need to continue with the limelight here. So Warren Davidson tweeted, "I've been working for years to provide legal clarity, including to the SEC, for all digital assets, and will continue working. In Congress, the majority party make sure that everybody that has been speaking out loudly about this, the majority party sets the agenda for every hearing and chooses 100% of the bills for votes. Vigorous oversight is now coming soon." So Chip, there's a ton of things that he packed into, one tweet here, and we're going to look at the next tweet that he follows this up with. But it is true that for years now, he's been trying to get the Token Taxonomy Act in front of a vote, at least getting it out of the Financial Services Committee. But what we've seen is that in Congress, the majority party that control at the congressional level are controlling the agenda. They're controlling, as he's saying here, the hearings, and they get to choose which bills are being brought up for a vote. But worse is also those that are then responsible for and controlling some of the key committees, and the main committee here being the Financial Services Committee. So we know that we've got very little traction. And then Chip, he follows this up with any suggestions to improve the Token Taxonomy Act.
Right.
It sets a bright line test, not Howie,
Yes.
to objectively identify whether a digital token is a security. Also clarifies custody and de minimis tax exemption. So you hear kind of what he's saying here, right, Chip? And he's talking about his fight for legal clarity, and he's asking out for suggestions to improve the Token Taxonomy Act. Now, if you were to read through this and you were to respond to Warren Davidson, what kind of suggestions would you want to give him? What kind of commentary would you provide if he's asking now for, is there any way to improve the Token Taxonomy Act?
I would think there's always a way to, everything can be improved, Jeff. But I think for this, the one thing that I would like to see changed in the token taxonomy is the taxation. It calls for a $600 up to $600, or what was it? So there's a $600 break in there somewhere. I would like to see that extended. But again, you're dealing with Congress, and how do you fund the wild parties, Jeff? You need to have money. So I mean, there's probably some things. I mean, if they couldn't pass it as is, which just changes the language in the 1933 securities updates, it just overrides any of the previous construed language from 70 years ago. So and that we can't get this one passed. How do you improve it? What we would do to improve it would be more like what Hester Peirce had suggested, which is having the opportunity to have a 3-year cycle where companies that are innovating and are building have up to 3 years to be totally decentralized, a check-in every year with a regulatory body. I'm not saying it's the CFTC, but they would go ahead and check in. And I would think that that would be probably one of the better things. And that's her safe harbor, giving up to 3 years. And I think they moved it back to 2 years. Bottom line is, it kind of shows you that you get a little bit of time, you're checking in on a regular basis, but you're not stopping innovation. You're not waiting around. So maybe something along those lines. And even when we look at what Tom Emmer, 2 of the bills he put out there, I think have great language too. But at this point, we can't even have this. We can't even get it out of committee.
It's so crazy. So then, I look at some of the commentary that people put up here, and so you have Digital Perspectives here, and he decides,
Brad Kimes,
that there's going to be some specific commentary to this. Some of it good, some of it, in my opinion, a little bit off the rails. But here, so he's tweeting to Eleanor Terrett, Gasparino, John Deaton, Byron Law, Warren Davidson, Rep. Emmer. If there is any good left in Congress, someone will call for an investigation of ETHgate. Now, as we get into it, he goes on, let's make the Token Taxonomy Act better by holding ETH founders responsible for evading securities law. This is where he goes a little bit off the rails, because the Token Taxonomy Act isn't about a legal investigation or, any type of congressional investigation or research. The Token Taxonomy Act is about regulatory clarity for crypto at large. So why would you then take the Token Taxonomy Act to hold Ethereum founders responsible for? There's no proof that they've evaded securities law. It needs to go in front of a judge. It needs to go in front of the court, and it needs to have a legal discussion and debate over whether or not it's evaded securities law. That's number one. Now, it might have, it might not have. But to wrap that type of language into the Token Taxonomy Act would be extremely irresponsible and naive. So I'm a little bit surprised to see Digital Perspectives even making that kind of commentary to take a legal bill, and he knows better, to then say you want to hold the founders responsible. Now, what else can you stack into a bill? You want to hold the Ripple founders responsible for potentially breach of securities law? Do you want to hold Bitcoin miners responsible for environmental concerns? Do you want to hold the entire crypto space at large? What else do you want to stack into the Token Taxonomy Act when it's meant to provide regulatory clarity? And that's it. So a little bit off the rails, but then say, okay, plus holding SEC officials responsible for private gain from their public office. So are you saying that now you want the Token Taxonomy Act also to cover holding SEC officials responsible for private gain, which again is a legal issue, which is not something that you put into a bill. It's again illegal. It's going to require investigation, and it probably is going to require years of deep investigation. Now, then you bring up level the playing field. That's all we want. So this makes no sense. This entire tweet makes absolutely zero sense until the end. Now, the very end of it makes 100% sense to me. This is where he kind of reclaims himself at this point. Let free markets determine the winners, not regulators. And that's exactly right. Free markets need to determine winners and losers. The regulators and the government shouldn't be in the business of determining winners from losers. But if you're looking at this, so you gave your perspective on the commentary of what Warren Davidson, which was spot on, right? But now I'm looking at what Brad is saying here, and I don't understand the tweet. I mean, it just doesn't make sense as to why he would say that. I don't get it.
Well, Jeff, I mean, wait a minute, Jeff. Are you saying that the government's not supposed to pick the winners? Is that what you're saying? I was just asking.
No, what?
But by the way, you guys, if you just
that's the part that I like.
That 3 to 4 minute rant you just saw, that's why you want to tune in on Saturday mornings, because that's Jeff for 1 hour plus. He just gets so fired up. look, I mean, and God, again, we love Brad Kimes, but I think what happens, you get so vested, you get so focused, hyper focused on this whole idea of whether it's some improprieties. Yeah, it looks like it. And why didn't the SEC, if it was the most obvious to go after Ethereum, especially since the two things they did a pseudo ICO, and the second part of that is that if you think about what they as far as the reason they gave Charlie Gasparino, the SEC said, well, the reason we're going after Ripple is because their network's not finished. Well, here we are, 6 years plus, we still don't have ETH 2.0. So I think sometimes you get so into an issue that it eats you up. You want retribution of some kind, but again, you got to be respectful. You have somebody, a congressman who's putting out for legitimate comments, saying, "Hey, how do we make it better?" Well, you know what? We might want. I mean, we're not going to figure it out in the podcast here, Jeff. But what you might want to do is kind of like workshop it a little bit, go back, put it out, discuss it. Like I said, hey, what do you think if we add this bit here, or what if we alter this, or what if we put? That's how you do it. But I can kind of see sometimes when emotions run high, this is the kind of thing that we get. It's going to happen, and sometimes cooler heads do prevail. I saw this from John Doe Crypto. He said every viewpoint is going to be different. Absolutely. I like the collage of coverage with the several YouTubers I follow, and that's exactly right. So you're going to get a difference of opinion, not here, but you'll get pretty much the same opinion, but you're going to get a difference of opinion. And just like we saw Brad Kimes, Jeff pointed out that it really wasn't about what the question is. The question really was, how do we make it better? And holding the SEC and, a lot of the vitriol of what's going on. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think we all have a little bit of that. We're, a little bit angry, but let's always be respectful when we get to that spot. By the way, Jeff, I did find it. And I have to say it was complicated listening to you and Senator speak, but I wanted to put this up here and let's listen to what he says here.
Again, this is another question for the panel, and I'd like for you to elaborate on it a little bit. I think it's important. It's estimated that Bitcoin and Ether, which have both been determined to be commodities, make up about 60% of the total aggregate value of cryptocurrency market cap.
Jeff, did he just say that they've been given regulatory? What did he just say?
Rewind.
Which have both been determined to be commodities.
They've both been determined to be commodities, Jeff.
Aggregate value.
Interesting.
So is he talking? He's at a hearing where he's asking questions of candidates. This is prior to their confirmation. This is a confirmation hearing. He's telling them that Bitcoin and ETH, which controls over 60% of the market, total market cap, were provided with their commodities. They've been determined to be commodities. Now, who determined that? Was that the Bill Hinman speech he's referring to? Because that's been walked back since. Who determined it? Was it CFTC?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, who determined this anyway? Who's about? Anyway, that's it. He gets.
But if it's true, then hey, maybe we're off to a good start here.
I don't know.
Cryptocurrency market cap. Beyond these two digital assets, do you believe it makes sense for CFTC to provide a list of guidance on which other digital assets it considers to be commodities? And let's start at the other.
By the way, I would just say, yeah, all of them. And then you don't get confirmed. It's like probably all of them. Senator Boozman, Boozman.
Boozy.
Boozman. Little vodka cocktails in the morning, booze. So let's hear what they have to say. Is anybody going to say, Jeff, what's your money? You're over under on all four commissioners here.
Crypto G says, I think he's reading from the Hinman speech. JV said it has to be the Hinman speech.
Right? It has to be. Actually,
it almost sounds like verbatim the Hinman speech. What's going on? He's
like,
here?
They've been determined to be commodities. I was like, okay, let's see what our candidates at. Let's see how they answer this question.
Other end.
Look at that.
Senator, I appreciate the bipartisan and thoughtful engagement and support from the ag committees on this critical issue. There have to be clear rules of the road to protect customers, and these markets can't grow fairly and responsibly without more clarity. So I would suggest that that's the approach that the Commission and the rest of the regulators in the U.S. and around the world provide on this. They're global markets, and it's important that the U.S. does not miss an opportunity to lead here and support U.S. businesses. I welcome the direction of the Congress on this, and if confirmed, we'll work with the chairman, my fellow commissioners, and the staff on tackling this. I will faithfully uphold the CFTC's mandate and defend its jurisdiction if necessary.
Jeff, did she answer the question? Yes or no?
It's an interesting answer. She did not answer it specifically, but she said that that she's willing to follow the lead of Congress because they need to help to provide clarity over the space. It's an important issue. And she wants to make sure that the U.S. doesn't get left behind. The U.S. still needs to lead in the space. She didn't answer his question. No.
But she did read some answers, though. Yes. I mean, we agree that she read some answers. She kept looking down. Like, is she read it? Did they know the questions?
But the statement, I thought, the question is, does she believe it? Does she know about it? I don't know who she is.
She's Carolyn D. Pham.
Yes, I see that.
I don't know who she is. She's a commissioner of the CFTC.
Yeah. So, but the points that she's bringing up now in front of the hearing versus, if, what's going to happen tomorrow, she's confirmed, she gets to work. Is she going to then support the U.S. taking a leading role, or is she going to go crazy like Gary or take her marching orders from Elizabeth Warren or Janet Yellen, and all of a sudden the CFTC is going to go from, hey, we want to take a lead role to the enforcement. We have our own pillars of enforcement. Gary, stand aside. brand new pillars of enforcement.
Could be.
I don't know. I'm a
would
little
you
bit...
consider providing a list of, in other words, determining the other entities besides Ether and Bitcoin as to whether or not they are commodities?
Okay, nice work on the follow-up question. Like, just like a list. How about a list? So, because like he's thinking to himself, like, hey man, look, I bought a crap ton of XRP, man. That thing is being attacked by the SEC. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. What's the other one?
Where's that list? I need a list to figure out what's going on here, Jeff.
Need a list to make sure I'm in compliance.
And what else should I be buying, by the way?
Ready to go up.
Because he knows Gary. He goes, Gary won't give a list. He's
not
happy
happy about Gary. Not happy camper about Gary.
So I give him a lot of, this is nice work to follow up.
Versus something else.
I think that providing a list can sometimes not keep up with the pace of innovation in new products, but I will point to the CFTC's method of self-certification new contracts, which I do think is well suited for new products.
Wow, the CFTC is pretty astute.
That was a solid answer right there. See, it's better when she doesn't read the stuff, when she just comes off the cuff. She knows. It's just smart. She understands what she's saying.
Harrison 40 saying she's in charge of nothing, which
and everything
unfortunately
at the same time.
So
he's like, I still don't know what else I should be purchasing other than Bitcoin and ETH. And wait till he gets the memo that the whole Bill Hemmons speak was walked back. It was just a personal opinion. Wait till he gets that. He doesn't know about that yet.
Go ahead.
Thank you for the question, Senator Bozeman. As far as a list as to what's a commodity or what's a security, I think we need to look beyond that, and we need to look at the markets. When doing so, we need to figure out a way to appropriately balance the many opportunities that these assets bring with the risks as well. And certainly this is something where we need to continue having discussions with not only federal regulators, but also state regulators and industry. We have to get this right. And certainly if confirmed, I look forward to working on this at the agency.
Jeff,
you read that?
Yeah, well, every one of them is reading it.
But at least Pham played it off like she wasn't. She lifted her paper.
She was looking up and down.
Was reading it, but she was holding the paper.
Did you think she looked like she had a nervous tick when she was doing this?
Well,
up and
it
down.
Looked like she was the whole thing.
Let me read. Hang on a second, Jeff. Let me read my official statement. I have a list here in my hands. This is a list. It's an official list. This contains all 6,000 digital assets that are commodities. Would you like to see it? Sorry, next time.
Yes. Can you believe that?
All 6,000. So that's her answer.
Can we share it with everyone watching?
They must have had the questions beforehand. They're not. And it's always great when someone else goes first. You're like, okay, how'd that look there? And, they're like, thank you very much, Senator. Thank you so much for the thoughtful and invigorating question.
Oh, my God.
Thank you so much, Ranking Member, for that question. I want
Ranking Member.
That's it.
I am a firm
She only gets her
believer in
one shot.
responsible innovation. And I believe your analysis regarding Bitcoin and Ether is, as you've described. I'm enthusiastic, if confirmed, about the opportunity to work with the chair and my fellow commissioners as we set out to offer clear and effective guidelines.
Wow.
I'm also thoughtful about the diversity of assets in this particular asset class and their emerging and the nuances of the attributes in this emerging asset class. I am mindful that we will need to engage in something that's commonly utilized by the CFTC, roundtables and conversations that bring constituents from the marketplace and industry, as well as others to the table to engage in discussions about balancing the interest in supporting responsible innovation with customer protections, transparency, and fairness in the market.
Jeff, she didn't read one thing, and that was really well done.
Man,
I love the energy
what she
too.
said. Oh, you could tell. I mean, she starts off, but she also believes Bitcoin and ETH are commodities, and and then just the way she was presenting, she wants to bring leaders from the industry in,
right?
They better understand. She's the only person who said that.
Right.
Who else in government is saying we need to bring leaders in the industry and have a conversation with them and see what they think?
It's what just happened in Australia. That's exactly how they came up with it. They brought the leaders in, they listened to them, and she's got the exact right approach. Plus, she has the energy, and also too, I was impressed. Yeah, sometimes when you're trying to generate the idea, she tripped up a bit, but I applaud her for not reading an answer. Hang on a second, Jeff. I absolutely believe that we must look at this as opportunities, and there are people who, that whole thing, and she just owned it, went off to the races. She already knows it, and that's who she is. So that was very encouraging. Now with the follow-up person who's coming, the last one, she says the same exact thing. We know. She's like, "Oh, that was sounding good." Let's see what the reaction is here.
So far, we're 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
Kind of. But out of the 3, really, there's one that sounded a little bit better.
2 out of 3 ain't bad. Okay, let's go.
All right, let's see what we got. Number 4.
Thank you, Ranking Member Bozeman, for that. I
think, first,
Boykin.
Thank you, Boykin.
Boys. Thank you, Boykin.
All right, that's hard, man. You already got a big strike. You missed.
Oh man,
totally stumbled on his name. Bozeman. What the hell?
He's having a big red button in front of him. He gets a big X buzzer.
I got to turn their mics on because I don't want to be
that Howard Stern was on. There was
they don't want to be
Howie Mandel
slurping.
Big red light or big red X.
There you go. Yeah, that's
one of the things that Chair Benham recommended was this is something maybe Congress might want to consider. I am concerned about providing a list and not being able to keep up. And I think one of the issues that could be helpful from a regulatory approach is providing clarity on how that decision is made as to what is a digital asset security versus a commodity. But I do want to say this is an area where we've got to get that balance.
Jeff, you think she read the Ripple? You remember the first paragraph in the Ripple, in the complaint, the SEC v. Ripple, it called it a digital asset security? I don't know. No one else has ever done that except for the SEC. Just saying, it kind of sounds a little odd calling it. Maybe she just tripped up on her words. Hard to know.
Balance right. I mean, the CFTC's mission is to both promote market vibrancy, but also to do it in a safe way that promotes market integrity. And that's going to be very, very important as you move forward.
It's also important. It's also the SEC too. And we saw how that kind of worked out, Jeff.
So overall, they all answer the question. The one was a little too waffly. She was obviously reading.
Opportunities, Jeff.
But three out of the 4, here's the question. So they all sounded, 3 of the 4 sounded like, hey, you know what? I think we have some representatives here, some commissioners on the CFTC that are actually going to be mindful to do something. The question is, they sound like they're going to be mindful to do something. Let's see what actually happens when they get the chance to actually do something. So
yeah, it's just like everything else.
The CFTC's got talent. There we go. That's what we need. The big red X.
That's it.
You're out of here. Next.
4 for 4. Thank you, Matt LaRoche, helping out significantly tonight. And there's some more Chris Larson if you want to hear this. I think this is probably worth. Yeah, here we go. So I'm gonna have to do this twice because I'm gonna have to. Hang on a second. Let me try this. Let's see if we're gonna be able to hear this or not. Hopefully we will, but if I go into the tweet, it may see it as something different. So here we go. So CoinDesk put this out. The Bitcoin community is reacting harshly and incredulously to a planned ad campaign by Ripple co-founder and chairman Chris Larson and Greenpeace USA that would push a code change to reduce the largest cryptocurrency's energy use. Well, first of all, you got the very first sentence wrong. Chris Larson is doing no such thing. There is no planned ad campaign. He put out a tweet thread yesterday saying that this is his own personal views, has nothing to do with the company Ripple, and he even apologized to the Ripple comms group, the department, the communication group. And so this is, again, something like CoinDesk. It's a planned ad campaign. No, it was him just off the cuff rethinking what his thoughts were, updating what he was thinking 6 months ago when he suggested it. And of course, we have this. It seems like another play by Ripple to promote their own token at the expense of Bitcoin using shady science. So look at this.
I love it.
Look at this video right here, Jeff.
I love
Let's see if we can.
Dude, shady science.
Do you hear that, Jeff?
Love that.
Tell me if you hear this.
I
We've
love shady science.
For many, many years from a lot of different groups on the environmental sides of Bitcoin mining and what Bitcoin mining's impact on the environment is. But, a lot of this is really, really shady science. There's not a whole lot of data that supports this, and it really ignores a lot of examples like Bitfarms, who are very publicly and very transparently mining Bitcoin on huge amounts of hydro and renewable resources in places like Canada, the United States, and Paraguay. So since our inception in 2017, we've mined somewhere around 15,000 Bitcoins with hydroelectricity, and these sorts of claims are completely ignored. I don't think that this is going to go anywhere. It seems like another play by Ripple to promote their own token at the expense of Bitcoin using shoddy science.
So that's the money shot right at the end. This is what happens. And now I will call attention again, Jeff, to this is exactly what's happening in crypto Twitter with the XRP community. They're engaging in the reverse of this, like hating on ETH. Look, I don't think anybody believes today's Ethereum is a security. I mean, this has gotten so tribal and out of hand. He has to slip that thing. They're going to try to promote their own coin.
But Larson shot the first volley over the bow.
Of course he did, but this is ridiculous.
Now he's coming back with Ripple promoting their shoddy science.
And then they want to promote their own coin.
Now, great, but XRP's out there, Bitcoin's out there, Ethereum's out there. They don't. At the end of the day, they really don't have to undermine each other and this goes back to this idea of tribalism and maximalism, Chip, and we bring it up. Could you imagine, it comes down to two. It comes down to Google and Apple, and all other stocks kind of go away. There's no more stocks left. And the tribalism between Google and Apple stock, and then Google goes away and there only is one. It's only Apple stock. How happy are you?
Well, I don't want just one choice. I think there should be a range of choice. I mean, it shouldn't come down to anything. And that's how silly it is. That's how silly crypto communities have become, where they're so passionate. I see like this coin I've never heard of, and they're like, if you're not in this coin, you don't get crypto. It's like, dude, just chill out a little bit. Take a step back, sit down, have a little drink, think about it for a while. It's like, no, don't worry. That's cool that you're into it. But now let's go crazy. Now, Chris Larson, he responds by, this made me laugh out loud. Ripple has nothing to do with the campaign. 2, I've said time and time, my end goal was for this campaign is for Bitcoin to succeed and find ways that Bitcoin can contribute to the fight against climate change. And what he didn't say here is, I probably own more Bitcoin than you'd ever imagine, you little twerp.
Than you'll ever own.
Than you'll ever own in your life. Dude. You will never amass the amount of Bitcoin that I own. Larson's been successful, Jeff. We talked about his prior companies.
Successful.
Damn well he probably has more Bitcoin than Michael Saylor. I mean, I think he's just rolling.
Think he's in the billions?
It might be in the billions, absolutely. Because I mean,
he's been around a long time.
So. Very successful business guy, and damn well he was an early adopter. I mean, if Bitcoin got its start in 2009 and right around 2012 they were just getting started, damn well he owned a lot of Bitcoin. You don't go into a new venture trying to fix what Bitcoin didn't get right, as far as transaction speed, as far as interoperability. If you're not involved, if you don't have any interest in Bitcoin, you just don't try to solve something like that.
Well, unless he spent it all on pizza and solar panels. And in that case, you don't have any left. But no, I think you're right. I mean, it's amazing. But what's amazing is that he's also losing his way a little bit, right? Because now he's saying that he wants to save Bitcoin, but the whole concept, and we went through the white paper, the premise of Bitcoin and the security of Bitcoin is that it's proof of work. And if you want a divergence from it, you're going to either do a soft fork or a hard fork. And truly, this ends up becoming a hard fork scenario, because how are you going to take Bitcoin maxis that love the proof of work, they understand that this is how it should be, they don't want it to change, and maybe it shouldn't, but why is he so fired up about it? And I think it comes down to guilt. I think he's guilty that he owns so much Bitcoin, and that he understands that by owning so much Bitcoin, there's a huge consumption of power. And he took some of his Bitcoin profits, $90 million. And granted, that's probably pocket change for him, so 90 million is not that much. But he's taken 90 million and invested that, or spent it on climate change, quote unquote. But what does that even mean? Like, what exactly did he spend it on? And it's coming out from this like guilty conscience of, I have too much, it's consuming myself. I believe that in this climate change thing, but I own all this Bitcoin, and it's apparently contrary to believing in the climate change, but I don't want to sell my Bitcoin because, I got a ton of it. And why would I do that? Doesn't make sense, because it's going to go to 1 million. So I'm not selling that. So, man. So I think there's a little bit of a conflict of emotion state. What do you think? Am I off?
I don't think I could have said it any better. I do feel like, look, I mean, someone that's so vested in the climate and the climate change and this and that, I'm like, great. If you feel like that's the way it is, but let's just look back at history. The earth will be around well after the human's gone. Just the way it's going to be. It's going to be healthy, vibrant, doesn't need us. It's going to laugh when we're wiped off the face of the earth. It doesn't care. And this whole idea that you want to create these carbon credits, which is just a clever way to say, we'll tax you more money, because right now they're voluntary until they're not voluntary, right? It's
voluntary until they're not.
Until they're not.
Yes. So XRP Panic's wondering what the thing is with a quote unquote climate change. I'm not sure, but Chris is saying he's playing the political game. Chris Crypto also said, you guys are nailing it tonight, which is awesome. And then XRP Panic said the truth of the matter is Bitcoin maxis are shitting their pants.
Could be. I don't know. But again, I've never, listen, I mean, I got into crypto because of Bitcoin. I have no beefs about Bitcoin whatsoever. Is it going to be the world's payment rail? Probably not. But so what? Why would you, there's an old saying, Jeff, that says this is like, never forget the person, I should say. Let's be correct here. Never forget the person who dug the well. Who dug the well and gave this all to us? Called Bitcoin. Have a little respect. Understand what it is. It doesn't have to be the fastest. It doesn't even have to be the best. But it was the first, and it paved the way. And that's the way I look at it.
See that? Self-hating Bitcoiner. That's a new one.
That could be. We know he owns Bitcoin, and it's this whole thing. By the way, we have to get back on here. We talk about John Deaton all the time. We have to get John Deaton back on the podcast. It's been a little bit of time. Awesome. Yep. We'll reach out and see if he wants to come back on, because love to have him back on, and let's talk some shop. Maybe we'll just get into, start talking about this too, because I mean, he put that t-shirt out saying that he was going to Bitcoin 2022, and he had a t-shirt that had the Bitcoin logo, the Ethereum logo, and the XRP logo. He's going to get stabbed right in the back by somebody, Chuck. And
gotta be careful.
You're going to be tackled from behind, So I wanted to go show this tweet right here, because Ripple put this tweet out. Wait, you know what happened? Yeah.
Ripple didn't put that out. Chris put that one out.
You know why? Because I hate, you know what it is? Like, when we're trying to share the screen, but you got to share the right tab. That's what it is. Here we go. Ripple said, learn about the possibilities and challenges behind implementing a CBDC and how to actually make them a reality for a more inclusive, equitable financial future. And so they put this blog post out right here, from hype to the how of making financial inclusion a reality. Now, it's really weird, Jeff. It's like, I thought, like, maybe do we lose something here? How to make the challenges behind implementing a CBDC. Then we go over here, and it's like, CBDCs from the hype to the financial inclusion. Okay, that's interesting. Kind of lost me there. But anyway, we recently surveyed over 1,600 financial leaders across 22 countries. We discovered that 37% of senior financial institution executives around the globe consider both financial inclusion and greater access to credit as the largest potential breakthrough for central bank digital currencies. Jeff, your thoughts?
CBDCs. So
does that seem likely? I mean,
well, we know that Ripple is somehow orchestrating and behind the rollout of CBDCs. I mean, they've come out and said so much themselves that their technology is really there to help promote and build out the CBDCs. And if you're using their technology, then it also takes away a little bit of the centralized aspect of the central bank digital currency potentially. But man, here it lies again. We're looking at this company that Bitcoin maxis called the banker's coin, XRP. And why that? Because Ripple with RippleNet is focused on promoting the banking space. But, here they are trying to help CBDCs because they interviewed all these financial leaders. Man.
But here's the weird thing, Jeff. When I think about financial inclusion, when you think about people who are left out of banking and all that, you know what they rely on? Fiat. The good old fiat. So this whole idea of how are CBDCs a digital? I mean, yes, they have a mobile phone, but I don't see how it's gonna assist or it's gonna make it any better. I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. That's what I'm not comprehending exactly what they're talking about in this case, because they're trying to reference again the removal of the centralized aspect, the banking, but at the end of the day, it seems like they're going back because RippleNet. Again, it's all about the financial institutions, all about the banks, and you want financial inclusion. Financial inclusion comes from giving people the freedom to really build and develop and do what they want. I think this goes back to David Schwartz's comment on, they originally wanted to give away XRP to end users and those and incentivize people building in the space, and that was difficult. But man, there's people that want to be, that also want part of that financial inclusion. The best way to get them included within the financial ecosystem is to give them an opportunity to build in the ecosystem instead of having just another monetary, asset that's controlled by the powers that be. That's not going to become financial inclusion. How's that?
Sound like something there, Jeff. Sound like he's saying something.
Yeah, I don't know what we're saying anymore. What else do we got?
I was trying to find somebody in the chat put this in here, and I was trying to find it, but there's only so much stuff you can. Let's see, where was it?
Man, Jim D's been all around a long time. I think it was only $3 per Bitcoin back then, but I was too cheap to buy it. Man, can you imagine? I remember Bitcoin at $7.50, but I don't remember it at $3.
This right here, Jeff, I was trying to find this on Twitter. Covered Chris Larson's Twitter exchange with Nick Carter. That's what I was trying to locate.
Aha.
But unsuccessful. I could not find. Search Chris Larson and Nick Carter.
Yep, legendary, big supporter here on the chain. He would like some free XRP. I won't turn down free XRP.
They did give it away at one point, though.
They never came and asked us. When did they come to on the chain?
Well, that was we weren't even, man. I don't think we even knew each other at that point. I mean, my God,
we were not around at that point.
Yeah, we didn't even know anything about it. But it was early days. They did give out a bulk of it. I'm trying to find this. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Wow.
Damn, Sophie saw Bitcoin at 60 cents.
Yikes.
60 cents.
Yikers. Man. Yikers. Rhymes with rakers.
Holy crap.
XRP
panic. Bitcoin is only secure when it's expensive. A collapse should hopefully end this stupidity forever. Expensive.
All right. So I did find something here. So I appreciate you showing that here. Let's look at this. Oh, God. What happened? Holy cow.
Man, that would be a good time to mine Bitcoin. Reading the commentary. Man, that was when you could mine with your CPU.
Yeah, before it got all insane.
Then it went GPU, and then it went out of control. Man.
Okay, so I have located it, and I'm going to put it up on the screen, although I'm getting some glare on my screen, which is not good.
Man, Sophie at 60 cents said, thought it was a scam and was afraid to spend $10 on it.
Oh, my God.
That's brutal, right?
Don't worry. I bought under 200, man. Sold it at 8.
Matt LaRoche was using his Commodore 64 to mine Bitcoin back in the day.
Yeah. So here we go. So here it is right here, Jeff. This is Nick Carter, a known Bitcoin maxi, but he said he's talking about, he published his op-ed. He goes, we're dealing with some extremely mendacious, nasty people. Fortunately for us, they're also very stupid.
Mendacious.
Wow.
That's
mendacious.
That's a great word.
He said, Chris, deep thoughts on the topic of Bitcoin mining are equivalent to a nematode contemplating linear algebra. Fun fact about Chris Larson, not only does he lobby against Bitcoin on energy grounds, but he also tries to discourage renewable energy asset owners from mining Bitcoin. I've witnessed this firsthand, so his concern is totally contrived. He doesn't want Bitcoin to be made sustainable. And here we go. Let's see. So Chris said, Nick, seems like you have a lot of issues with what I'm advocating for here, for Bitcoin to continue to succeed and become carbon neutral. We've been in meetings together in the past, and when I spoke up, you really didn't have much to say then. Happy to have a civil conversation with you about this subject, but I'm sure there are at least a few things we agree on, even if there's a lot we disagree on. Regardless, please leave Ripple out of this. They're not involved. So there you go.
It's tough. It's really tough to separate, the main guy from the company.
Right. It's the same with the singer in a band. Like,
really tough.
If Bono from U2 gets up there and starts to say, like, the U2 said that no, it's just Bono. He was just going off. So, Jeff, just looking at the CBDC article, I just want to flip through some of these and through some more tweets. So, efficient and cost-effective cross-border remittances, access to peer-to-peer loans, ability to establish credit history, key hurdles to implementation going beyond the hype, education, user experience. So what's next? I don't know. Usually these blog posts are spot on. This one is a really big reach. I mean, it's not even near a clue bag. It's just so out of touch. And then, so what I said on this one, I said, like, hey, you know what the bigger challenge is about CBDCs? How do we stop governments from overreach when it comes to CBDCs? What happened in Canada was the movie trailer for the CBDCs, the movie. So
nice.
That's kind of what we're up against, Jeff. I mean, you can say all this glowing stuff about peer-to-peer loans and all this stuff. Listen, I don't think anybody in government's thinking about peer-to-peer loans. I don't think they're thinking about cross-border remittance. They're thinking about one thing: control. And Tom Emmer totally nailed this. He said the U.S. is not behind China on crypto. CBDCs are not crypto. They're a government surveillance tool.
Oh, man.
Crypto creates freedom. It doesn't destroy it.
There's Tom Emmer. So here's an interesting thought, an interesting narrative, and something that we've discussed multiple times as it comes to why did the SEC attack Ripple under Jay Clayton. Now, you just saw some inkling of it. Now here, Alchemist is bringing up a really solid point because he said it's hilarious. The entire face of Ripple, Larson, Garlinghouse, Schwartz, all have always said the same thing, and the entire company and product line reflects those views. Now he brings up XRP, but it's Ripple because obviously XRP is not a company. Ripple is a social financial justice company, always has been, commenced to melt snowflakes. But the point here, and what we're seeing with Larson coming out with his carbon neutral ideas, David Schwartz with his carbon neutral ideas, Brad Garlinghouse dabbles in it a little bit, doesn't come out strong, but many of the leadership within the company talk about this carbon neutral ideology, and to that point, have attacked Bitcoin, and we saw Larson attack it, which then you go and have this reason and say, well, why did they single out Ripple? That could be one of the facets of it. Not saying it was the facet. Combine that with the idea that they wanted to take on Swift to, so many multitude of other reasons. And then all of a sudden you wrap in this notion of, man, there was a lot more to, them dropping that lawsuit than, oh, we think XRP is a security and Ripple was selling an unregistered security. They said, how do you attack this company, or how do you dig in a little bit and kind of smack them down a little bit? They know at the end of the day, there's no way that Jay claimed, we talked about this a lot, there's no way he would have thought that, hey, Ripple's not going to come out of this, because going into it, they already had these inklings that XRP wasn't a security. But if you want to punish them a little bit, if you want to twist the knife, if you want to smack them a little bit, smack them down a little bit, have the SEC go after them. And there you go. Sure. And it really had a direct impact. Now, the problem is that if there was that kind of dynamic, they also don't care about the retail. But nobody in politics cares what happens to the people. The people are the pawns. We're just out here living our lives, and we're going to get, there's always going to be collateral damage when there's a war, and there's battles within politics all the time, and we're the collateral damage, unfortunately.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's well said, Jeff. There was something by Perianne Boring, she was on with Charles Payne, which I love. We're not going to play the video. We just don't have enough time, but she was talking about Bitcoin was the most sustainable of all blockchains. And she said it was the greenest and the friendliest and la, la, la. I mean, it's just simply not true. I mean, you take a look at things like Solana, you take a look at, XLM, you look at XRP. It's not a true statement. And I was just surprised by Charles Payne's reaction. Other two quick hits along the same lines is that this one here, 11 companies from Canadian Web3 Council to advocate for comprehensive crypto strategy. The association will champion the creation of a clear digital asset regulatory framework for Canada. There's more of that. So you can see that the one commissioner who brought up the whole idea, let's bring industry leaders in, let's learn. We don't know what's going on. Let's more voices to the table. And you see that Canada is already doing this. They got 11 companies form the Canadian Web3 Council just so they can go ahead and make sure they advocate for a comprehensive crypto strategy. I think that's phenomenal. And along those same lines, we got on the privacy front, we got Polygon ID platform seeks to enhance self-agency and privacy in the Web3 space. Zero knowledge-based platform expected to be fully operational in Q3 of 2022. This is layer 2 Ethereum scaling solution Polygon, better known as the coins Matic.
Like Matic.
Announced the establishment of the Polygon ID, an identity platform designed to complement the decentralized finance and decentralized application to adapt economies by providing users greater privacy and sovereignty within Web3. Now, I welcome that quite often. That's just a different way of thinking, Jeff. Instead of getting on all this green and this and that, listen, great, happy that it's that, but this is more of what I want to hear about. I want to hear about how are you going to protect people's privacy? How are you going to make it safer? Because you're not going to rely on the CFTC or the SEC. They're not necessarily going to do that. I just like the private sector, someone like Matic, to check. And it was funny, Jeff, is we had the opportunity to interview them when it was 0.00 something. Remember that? And somehow one of the co-founders got sick. It got put off, and we never got around to interviewing them. It would have been nice to have heard that early days and actually amazing. Owned more Matic. But anyway, that's
Matic good.
Matic. So yeah, it's going to be the first identity platform of its kind to adopt cryptographic-based zero-knowledge technology. Platform will hold IDNs, CIRCOM.
It sounds like a lot of people on Twitter.
Yeah, it's good though. I love the whole idea of this. Sybil resistant, one vote per person mechanism. Use cases can expand beyond DeFi to the metaverse, gamify, NFTs. This is a good development. And to be honest with you, if Ripple was really worried about a lot of these things I would welcome start getting into privacy. I mean, they championed that, what was that called? What was that ID thing they rolled out? Then they had to change the name because it was the same one in Australia.
Oh yeah, that's right. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, then they changed the name. Something PayString is what it ended up becoming.
Oh right.
But before that, I forget what it was called. But again, this right here should have been really heavy on the whole I think it's called Paystring, right? They should have been more. It should have been more dominant, I would think. Here, yeah, paystring.org. Here it is.
Bird Dog dropping some knowledge over there.
There it is, right there.
Yeah, there you go. So,
Let's see,
Chip,
anything
before
about privacy
we
there?
wrap this thing,
Let's wrap it.
I think we got to bring this up because this is something that people have talked about.
But it's wrapping right now, Jeff.
Infinitum. Flare, Chip.
Oh yeah, Flare. I forgot to bring that up. Yeah.
This one is I don't know how we missed this.
It just came out today, Jeff.
When Flare
just came out today.
Man, this is juicy news right here.
Yeah, it is. That's why I was in the
team. I know, and we almost missed it. The team is aiming for July 4th to be confirmed in mid-June. So hopefully that doesn't get set back. Subject to an audit. Hopefully the audit doesn't get set back. Flare is not just enabling early L1 tokens to be used with smart contracts. It's bringing advanced cross-chain interoperability to all networks. And then the roadmap and blah, blah, blah. And, everyone's fired up, Chip. Flare, July 4th, 2022. Flare is going to drop for real.
On America's birthday, Jeff.
On America's birthday, good choice of dates, and before anything happens with the SEC v. Ripple case. There you have it.
Yeah, there we have it. Again, it goes by. It's the fastest hour in crypto. Guys, if it's your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, click that notifier bell, and you'll be notified anytime we drop a video. Maybe you might be. And then if you're over on Rumble and you're watching us over there, are we still on Rumble yet, Jeff? Or we haven't been?
Man, we're streaming live on Rumble.
All right. Hello, Rumblers.
We are live. Hello, Rumblers.
Hello, Rumblers. Hello,
Rumblers. If you made it to the end,
please. If you made it to the end and you're still watching this, go ahead. Give us a Rumble over there, man.
Give us a Rumble.
And soon we'll be on we'll be expanding our the on the chain to other platforms as there's some other things happening, and as those happen, we will do that as well because it's good to be diverse, Jeff. As we keep hearing from Ripple.
Yep. Mr. Wolf, maybe Elon will tweet about Flare. It brings smart contracts to Doge.
It absolutely does. It gives it a use case. It's very cool thing. And that's all we have. So, guys, thank you once again for the smartest people in crypto joining us with the commentary, with the great questions you guys have. Funny things you say when one of us is talking and the other one is listening and reading. Because I see Jeff over there at Chucklemeister. I try not to read too many of them, but they are funny. It's just a reaction. It's how you do it. But anyway, that's
well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff and Chip. Have a great night.
Thank you, Jim D. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Love all you guys. And we will see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff.
Ow.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.